Of all the strange worlds, dark laboratories, and alien horrors born in the imagination of science fiction writers, which monsters truly stand above the rest? Which ones terrified us, fascinated us, or made us question what it even means to be human? Today, we're counting down my top 10 monsters in science fiction literature, the creatures that keep your brain buzzing long after the last page. Hey there, everyone. I'm Jim, and welcome to Fantasy for the Ages, where my son Zach and I geek out about fantasy, science fiction, and all the other nerdy stories we love to share. Zach's not with me today, so this is another Jim solo episode, and I will try to do my son proud as we're heading deep into the realm of sci fi, terror, and imagination today. If you enjoy lists like these, be sure to like the episode, subscribe to our channel if you haven't done so yet, and hit that notification bell so you don't miss any of our upcoming episodes. We keep them coming out pretty darn often. And thank you to every one of you who are already Patreon supporters, helping us keep this channel alive and functioning and coming at you with all these new ideas. If you'd like to check out our Patreon page, the link is down in the show notes. All right. Let's talk monsters. I begin here with an honorable mention, one that almost made my top 10, is really worthy, but you can only put 10 in a list of 10. So this is sitting on the outside looking in. Just outside my official top 10, I'm giving a nod to the Tripods from the Tripods trilogy by John Christopher. These towering, three legged alien overlords who enslave humanity by attaching mind control caps to their skulls. That's right, fashionable and functional, if your goal is total subjugation. Christopher's trilogy takes the classic alien invasion idea and gives it a haunting twist. What happens when humans are so beaten down, we actually accept our oppressors? These massive machines are iconic, and they nearly, like I said, right almost on the edge of cracking my top 10, but they have to settle for honorable mention status. Okay, let's start that countdown now with pure adrenaline. The Predators make number 10 on my list, or the Yautja, if you want to sound like you've read the lore. These are the ultimate hunters. They cross galaxies just to find worthy opponents, and they come equipped with cloaking tech, plasma cannons, and an absolutely terrible sense of sportsmanship. They're monsters with a code, however. They will rip your spine out, but only if they think you are worth it. In sci fi, that blend of savagery and honor makes them fascinating and terrifying. Number 9, I bring The Infected from I Am Legend by Richard Matheson. In Matheson's novel, a mysterious plague wipes out most of humanity and turns the rest into vampire like creatures. But here's the twist: Robert Neville, our hero, slowly realizes he's the monster in their new world. This is where science fiction meets horror and philosophy. The infected are tragic, but they're also the next step in evolution now. It's a perfect example of how the real monsters in sci fi aren't always the ones with fangs. Sometimes it's us. Number 8, I bring you the Formics, also called the Buggers, from Ender's Game by Orson Scott Card. Giant space bugs, people, but way smarter than they look. The Formics wage interstellar war through overwhelming numbers and hive mind coordination. They're terrifying because they're utterly alien, no empathy, no communication, just efficient extermination. Until, well, Ender finds out that maybe humanity's been the villain all along. The Formics embody that classic sci fi theme. What if our fear of the other blinds us to understanding? A great monster and a mirror. Number 7, The Thing From Who Goes There by John W. Campbell Jr. This story was written all the way back in 1938. The Thing is the perfect paranoia monster. It can imitate anyone, down to their memories and personality. One second, you're working beside your best friend. The next, they're a blob of alien goo wearing his face. This shapeshifter became the blueprint for half a century of who can you trust storytelling, from Invasion of the Body Snatchers to The Thing in 1982. It's not just about the alien, it's about the fear that maybe you'd lose your humanity too. Number six, HAL 9000 from 2001 A Space Odyssey by Arthur C. Clarke. We've got both the book and the movie version. That movie version is really coded into culture now. But Hal, he's calm, he's logical, he's your ship's best friend until he decides you are the mission's biggest flaw. HAL 9000 isn't your typical monster. He's a red camera eye and a voice that sounds far too polite while he's murdering you. HAL represents the dark side of human achievement, the moment our creations outthink us and decide that human error is just another bug to eliminate. In our current day of AI and ChatGPT, etc., this story of HAL, man, it's cold. It's brilliant. It is terrifying. For number five, I've got the Cylons from Battlestar Galactica. Yes, the things that were on television, but there's a whole expanded universe of novels that adds to this lore. Robots rebel. It's one of sci-fi's oldest tropes, but the Cylons nailed it. They evolve, they worship, and eventually they look like us. Some of them even fall in love with us, which makes their war on humanity that much more twisted. They force us to ask, if artificial life can think, feel, and believe, what makes them the monsters and not us? Every Cylon smirk is a challenge to the creator's arrogance. Number four, I'm giving you the kaiju. From many different sources, but I'm specifically drawing the style from Project Nemesis by Jeremy Robinson. If you like your monsters big, this one's your entry. The kaiju of Robinson's Project Nemesis are colossal, genetically engineered titans unleashed by military hubris and moral bankruptcy. They're not just giant beasts smashing cities, they're consequences. Science fiction at its most spectacular and cautionary, because when we start tampering with DNA and God complexes, skyscraper sized retribution tends to follow. These dudes should have watched Jurassic Park. For number three, I'm bringing The Blight from A Fire Upon the Deep by Werner Vinge. This one's abstract, but deeply chilling. The Blight is a malevolent AI that spreads like a virus across the galaxy, infecting computers, civilizations, and minds. It doesn't roar or stomp, it corrupts. Its intelligence gone cancerous. A perfect example of sci-fi horror where the threat isn't physical, but informational. The more you try to understand it, the closer it gets. Just don't click that file. Number two, how about The Overlords from Childhood's End by Arthur C. Clarke? The Overlords arrive on Earth in massive ships. They end war. They end hunger. They usher in peace. How can they be a monster? I mean, this sounds great until you realize that their end game is not salvation. It's extinction through evolution. And, oh yeah, they look exactly like demons from human mythology. Clark's brilliance is in that contradiction. They're benevolent monsters, proof that the most terrifying change might come wrapped in kindness. What have I saved for number one? If you're a sci-fi fan, you know what I need to mention and have not mentioned. I'm giving you the Xenomorphs from Alien. And we could lean into, if we want a novel, I said these were from sci-fi literature. We've got the Alan Dean Foster novelization back in 1979. These xenomorphs, biomechanical nightmares, acid blood, double jaws, a life cycle that feels designed by a sadistic god. The xenomorphs from Alien are the ultimate sci fi monster, born of evolution, fear, and sheer cinematic perfection. They adapt, they hide, and they kill with efficiency. But the real genius is how much they represent humanity's own anxieties, our fear of violation, parasitism, and nature turning our biology against us. No other creature better merges science, horror, and beauty into one unforgettable monster. Long live the Queen. There's one other entity that I nearly placed on this list, but chose to save it for the horror episode that is still to come, and that's Cthulhu. In much of the literature, including as H.P. Lovecraft seemed to consider it, Cthulhu is a genre fence sitter, both sci fi and horror. And perhaps the stronger case could be made for this being appropriate in the sci fi category. But I'm sticking with the cosmic horror element Cthulhu is best recognized for. But trust me, it will be back. So there you have it, my top 10 monsters in science fiction literature, plus that one unforgettable honorable mention that I led off with. From intelligent machines to alien predators, these are the creatures that remind us science fiction does not just imagine new worlds, it imagines new fears. Did I miss one of your favorites? Let me know down in the comments. Which monsters should I have added? Which ones are your favorites? Which ones are on the list that you're like, not nearly good enough? And hey, if you enjoyed this countdown, check out the top 10 monsters of fantasy literature I did just before this one, because it does pair really nicely with the sci fi. And as always, don't forget to like, subscribe if you haven't done it yet, share this episode with your fellow sci fi loving nerds. Thanks for watching Fantasy for the Ages. We'll talk to you next time.